Hey y'all, how you doing today? All right, as you can see, I've got a bunch of oil filters sitting here in front of me. We're going to talk about oil filters. But first, I need to get some things out of the way. One is that you all have went and done it. You have made this channel over 600 subscribers, and I am certainly really big, huge thank you from me for that. Just blows my mind. Uh, Warning though, I'm not going to be telling you which of these filters to buy. There's a lot of different variables that can go into like what kind of filter you need to be buying. You may be the kind of person that drives not very far, or you don't drive very much. You may be driving a whole lot. You may be you drive, you run your vehicle a little bit faster. You haul heavier loads or whatever. There can be a lot of different variables. Maybe you drive in environments where it's not, environments where the climate's not that great. A lot of hot or a lot of cold or, very dirty, dusty environments. A lot of dirt roads, gravel roads, those sort of things. In those cases, some of these filters may be perfect, some of them may not be. That's up for you to decide. Um, but let's get some things out of the way. Your most common filters you're going to come across these days are your basic spin-on filters, like this guy right here, and this fellow here, the Canister Style. The Canister Style is named because when you replace the filter, this is all you replace. This and maybe an O-ring, okay, or two. This is what actually does the filtering. Okay, this is probably made from some sort of paper type material, maybe some cloth fibers in there as well. Some of these can also be made from synthetic fibers as well. Same goes for the spin-on filters. Same, they can be made from a synthetic material. The filter media can be made of a synthetic material or a paper or even cloth. Um, the the things that you need to be aware of is that um, that when most all of your oil filters nowadays will have your spin-on ones anyway, will have an anti-drain back valve. It's just as common as dirt nowadays. A long time ago, a lot of manufacturers started incorporating them into filters because the Toyota engines really needed that. They needed to have that anti-drain back valve. So when the engine started, it would have oil held up in the filter. Okay, so that's what that little orange. I don't know if you can see it there. There's like an orange thing down inside there. Yeah. Now the spin-on filter is called the spin-on because it is, if you look into that center hole right there, it has threads in there. There's accompanying stud on the engine that has threads that this thread's right on to. Okay, spins on there, the gasket meets up and seals. Okay, now some basics about spin-on filters. Okay, some things you should do, things you should not do. You should always put oil on the gasket. Okay, never put this on dry. If you do, you're going to regret it. Okay, I've seen it happen a bunch of times. People will put these on dry. Secondly, make sure and check your base. Okay, make sure it is not, doesn't have any damage, it is not cracked, and also make sure, most importantly, make sure there's not a gasket stuck on there. I've seen that happen a lot of times. If the gasket gets stuck on there, you can put this on and it'll thread right on and it'll seat right up, but it won't seal. You'll have oil go everywhere. And most important, and another very important fact, never ever put this on with anything but your hands. Okay? Whether you're wearing a glove or not, be sure to never use a tool to put this on. Okay? Spin-on filters always are to be put on by hand. Matter of fact, it even says, it has directions right here. Tells you everything about that. Okay? Lubricate the filter, lubricate the gasket of the filter. Put it on, tighten it down so far. Okay? It's pretty simple stuff. But you'd be surprised how many people won't do that or don't do that. Another thing, make sure the filter actually fits your vehicle before you put it on. Okay, double check that. All right, now we got Google and all sorts of things. You can just Google it, find out. Okay. If you don't have Google or anything, just compare it to some of your old filters. Okay, your old filter that came off your car. Okay. But another thing to keep in mind about filters and their material. You can use a basic filter with synthetic. You don't have to use a high dollar, very expensive filter with synthetic oil. You can do that. You can use a synthetic filter with regular conventional oil, and you can use synthetic oil with a conventional style filter. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind about what I was saying about the gasket, don't put it on dry, because if you pay attention, my fingernail can mash and flatten that gasket. Well, not flatten, but it can compress that gasket. So this is a pretty soft piece of rubber. If you tighten it and over tighten it and you're compressing it down, this is going to act like that gasket's going to act like a spring, and it's going to keep this under tension. Okay. So getting this off is going to be a real monster. It's going to be a real bear to get this off. Believe you me, I've had to do that before, and it's not fun. When somebody else does that, it is not fun. Another little tidbit. You will see some manufacturers will have multiple brands that they will manufacture. Okay? Like, see this ProMotive filter? Yeah, see the dust on the top? Make sure, go ahead and get this out when you're at the store. The guy working at the counter hands you this. Just go ahead and pull it out of the box. Just make sure, okay, before you walk out the door. It's just a little thing you can do to help yourself out. But if you look right here, guess what? They're exactly the same. And you know why the ProMotive is exactly the same as this? Because it's made by Purelator. Yeah. Back up there so we can focus on that. But yes, it is. These are made by Purelator. So, still a good quality filter, but just something to keep in mind. Okay. Another little tidbit. Let's say you're going to put a 440 in your. I'm going to put a 440 in my Barracuda. Okay. If I'm going to put a 440 in there, guess what? I've got to come up with an oil filter, and I can't use this big guy. No, sir. I'm going to have to go with maybe something shorter because they have the same base. This one has more holes, I realize, but this one has, this one has like 6 and this one has 8. So 2 more. Another thing, but they do have the same threaded base and they have the same gasket size. So, but if you also notice something else too. So let's say you can fit a longer filter on, but you just can't, it can't be that big, this big around. See there? See the difference? See all the material past the gasket? This one doesn't have that material. Okay? So this is just a thinner, smaller diameter. Just some things to keep in mind now. And all 3 of these has the same base, has the same thread pitch and diameter and everything. So that's just something to help you out there. All right. Now, main thing is though, get out there and change your oil and do it when it needs to be done. If you have to, buy your oil and your filter and have it, Amazon or whatever, and have it shipped to your house. That's more convenient for you. Or whatever's necessary, whatever you need to do. Okay? But you know what? I have these filters, these filter boxes, and they have like the breakdown of how the filter is made and all of this. Now, one thing also too, I just thought about this, is that filter material will filter down in microns. Now, think of like a screen, piece of screen wire, okay, like on your screen door, okay, of your house. If you notice, it's made of tiny little squares, all right? Thousands of these tiny little squares. Now, the smaller those squares get down to, the more they will filter out certain particles, okay? Now, there are some cars that used just a metal screen for a long time. Volkswagen Beetle, the old one. Yep, that was one of them. I'm not saying all of them were like that, but there was a lot of them like that. I've seen them. But when it comes to getting down to, let's say you want to filter down to a much finer material, then you start getting into like a material, filtering out material with a filter like this. Okay, so this gets down to much finer. Okay, now microns, the larger the number, the bigger that material is it's going to get through the filter. So let's say this filter, or let's say this one filters down to 20 micron particles, 20 20 microns, but this one filters down to 15. Okay, there you go. Now that sometimes can make a difference in oil pressure, so just something to keep in mind. Okay, oh boy, dropped my O-ring. Anyway, I've got a treat over here behind me that I thought maybe you'd like to see. Some of y'all maybe have never got to see before. Now, some of you all, this may be old hat, but to some of you all, maybe not. I thought I would tear one of these filters apart, and as you can see, I really butchered it up, but that's beside the point. We've got the main pieces here. This is the anti-drainback valve. Okay, all right. So as you can see, it looks like that is in excellent condition. It's still very pliable. Okay. Now we've got we've got the body out here, which of course you can see I've dented it up by clamping it in the vise. We've got the base. This is a pretty hefty piece of metal right here. Okay. We've still got the gasket. The gasket is still pliable. Yeah, still pliable. I can push my thumbnail into it and it compresses. The base is not damaged. Well, I mean, I caused some damage, but that's something I did. Now, this, I damaged that, okay? I dented that, so that's me. That's on me. All right, so, but I thought I'd pull this out, show this to you. So here's your filter itself, okay? Remember the canister style over there? Similar thing here, similar idea. Now, here is, this is a leaf spring. This keeps this pushed up to and this part, all that spring down there keeps this part pushed up against the base here. Okay, so this gasket sits right there like that. Then this would sit like so, like that. Okay, well, it wouldn't sit crooked, it would sit straight like that. Okay, so now the spring here would sit in the bottom like so, like this, just like that. And its job is to basically be a spring, like a leaf spring. It just pushes this up against the base, okay? The filter itself. Now, so one of the things, now also I discovered this, it has that neat little spring and a valve there in the base. I thought that was pretty neat. That is probably a a high pressure relief valve, maybe. But I'll tell you what, let's look at the filter box over here and see what the filter box doesn't even show that. Yeah. But yeah, it has the silicone anti-drainback valve. Is it? Yeah. Okay. So none of them show that. Yeah, none of the Purelators show that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So, all right. As you can see, I made quite a mess here. It was worse. I did a little cleaning, so. But just draining that out there, see that. Okay, so anyway, this is, one of the filters I had in my scrap metal pile. So I went and got it and cut it open, and there we go. Anyway, I hope you're able to learn something from all of this. Don't cut one of these things open. It makes a big mess. No, I hope you're able to learn that, what makes a good oil filter and what, makes a mediocre. I guess if I had a Fram, I would cut a Fram open and, show you the cardboard end pieces. But I think Frams went and changed a lot of that stuff now, and they're trying to get away from those sort of things, which that's fine too. But if you are very smart, so if you have any questions, you know what to do. Post them down below. I'll do my very best to answer your questions. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the likes and the shares and the subscribes. And it's really just overwhelming to have like 600 subscribers. In like, you see, December 25th, I got 500. So this is now March, and I've got 600. That's just in 2 months. This is now the first few days of March. So it's just crazy to me. It's just like, wow. So, but I really, really thank you all for that. I'm going to be getting back to work on a lot of the other projects. Tomorrow I'm going to be working on the Dodge truck, my Dodge truck, and I'm going to be putting the rear end in it. Somewhat dreading that because the truck is movable right now, but if I put the rear end in, I've got to go get the drive shaft shortened, and that's going to entail me having to leave the truck unmobile, unable to move. I'm not real crazy about that, but it's just part of the process. That's just the way it is. So anyway, all right, thank you very much, and God bless. Have a great one.